Hello everybody, today we watched Honest Thief, starring Liam Neeson, Jai Courtney, the guy from Burn Notice, the guy who replaced Mulder on X-Files, and etc. So Aiden, what is the plot of Honest Thief?
Liam Neeson plays the In-N-Out Bandit, which is his name even though he's a bank robber, I guess. And he decides, he meets a woman and he's like, I love you, so I'm going to turn myself in. And he tries to turn himself in, but he turns himself into the corrupt FBI cops who steal his money and then try to pin the murder of their boss on him. And he has to solve the case, clear his name, and get himself arrested.
Yep.
Instead of murdered. So, Connor, what did you think of the Honest Thief? Honest Thief, not the Honest Thief.
If I can be honest, I thought it was really shitty. I mean, it wasn't terribly made. Everything was really adequate. You know, was the cinematography special? No. Was the shooting special? No.
The dialogue was special.
The dialogue was something special, but I was getting to that. It was shot competently. Not exciting, not bad. It was fine. The acting was good in the movie, mostly, honestly. The only thing that I thought was really bad was the lines they were saying. Like, Liam Neeson was good as always. Jai Courtney wasn't bad. Michael from Burn Notice wasn't bad. The issue was the dialogue was awful. It all felt like it was written by one 55-year-old Republican man who's like, I don't know, the whole time he's just like, they'll say ridiculous stuff like, I'm a working man just trying to make an honest living robbing banks because my dad drove a Chevy Silverado into a tree after my mom died and his pension was taken away. Like, it's not incredibly exciting. Nothing really happens. Everything's kind of just boomery. And he's like, I need to prove my innocence. So he tries to prove his innocence the whole time.
Also, he tries to prove his guilt because no one believes that he's the
bandit. Right. And Liam Neeson, here's my theory. Liam Neeson said he swears off action movies. And that's why I think Liam Neeson himself doesn't kill anyone in this movie. Because, like, he doesn't believe in gun violence or something anymore and doesn't want to add to that. And I mean, Liam Neeson really doesn't belong in action movies. You can see in this film, he's almost 70 and he looks almost 70 in this movie. Like,
yeah,
there will be action
scenes. Haggard most of the time.
Yeah, there's a scene where he like jumps out of a building or something and lands, and then he instantly is supposed to like take off running after Jai Courtney, and he's trying to tell his girlfriend Annie to run, and he's like. And you can just tell he's like out of breath and all he had to do was stand up and run. Look, is the man in bad shape for 69 or 68 years old or whatever? No. But is he action movie material? Probably not anymore, if I'm being realistic.
Yeah.
And The Honest Thief kind of fucked up everything when you think about it because, okay, he pretty much had enough evidence. You know, the one corrupt FBI agent was like, I'm gonna join your team now. I'll help you. You get Jai Courtney and I'll face my punishment. I love my kids and stuff, so I can't do it. And then Liam Neeson teams up with Michael Weston from Burn Notice, who's like, we got the evidence now. Just turn yourself in. He's like, no, we're gonna solve this my way. And then he like explodes Jai Courtney's house, which seemed pretty unnecessary. And then he threatened to blow up his car with a car bomb, calling in the bomb squad, which seems kind of unnecessary. He got the guy who's like, I'm going to reform like you, honest thief, and then my kids will be proud of their dad. And then he gets shot 600 times right after he gets reformed. So it's like Liam Neeson didn't really solve anything. He already had the tape. All he had to do was tell Michael Weston that, oh, the money's in the next thing. That proves he's the bank robber, not some kooky guy. And with the footage in that, it would prove that the corrupt cop stole the money. Not to mention, you already have testimony from the other corrupt cop who's given up the act. So the fact that Liam Neeson wanted to do it his way. Basically, just got the one guy who wanted to come clean killed, and it kind of ruins the message of the story because the whole time Liam Neeson's like, I'm not really a bad guy.
I've never killed anyone.
I want to make up for my wrongs. I never spent $1 of the money I stole. I just robbed a bunch of banks because
it was fun.
It felt good because my dad got his pension stolen or something. And then the whole time they're like advertising Carhartt hoodies, and you got the fucking girlfriend Annie who's like, Tom, I'm so scared for you. And he's like, oh, don't worry about it. You're going to be in trouble, mate, if you don't leave the city. And then she's like, I don't want to. I like robbers, grease monkey robbers. And he's like, I know you're not. And he's like, wait here. This could get dangerous. And she's like, no, I don't want to. I want to be an accessory to your arson, explosive making antics. And it kind of just all made no sense. The dialogue was really bad. The woman was a decent actor. There was like one really flubbed line, but it felt like she was actually trying, and the editing was just kind of poor at that part, or the director just chose not to do a second take. I don't remember exactly what it was, but she's talking to Michael Weston by the storage unit, and she says something like, you're the honesty or something, or I want to come clean or something. It was just really awkward. And clearly like a flub line, but the director couldn't be fucked to take a second take, I guess. And it was kind of uncomfortable watching this movie because it felt like, you know, you got Jai Courtney, who wants really bad to be a star but keeps getting put in these terrible movies, and he's a decent enough actor. Liam Neeson's clearly past his prime. You know, did the guy who replaced Mulder on the X-Files ever have a career outside of replacing Mulder for one season on the X-Files?
No.
Michael Weston of Burn Notice hasn't done anything but minor crap roles since...
He was the second most popular show in USA for a while.
Yeah, he was, under Psych, bro. Our favorite show, Psych. Doug's favorite show, too. Doug Walker of the Nostalgia Critic. So yeah, it ends up just being a bunch of middling stuff with actors. I think the director, I think people who worked on this movie cared about the story. I don't think it was solely a paycheck thing. It kind of felt like something that should have maybe just been a direct to Netflix, like, and I don't mean one of those big advertised ones, but ones where it's like, we hear you like if you liked Die Hard with a Vengeance, you'll like this movie with Liam Neeson and Michael Weston from Burn Notice. Like, it kind of felt like a prolonged, like, episode of a USA show. The acting wasn't perfect. Not much happened. The budget looked about on tier with that. Like, the really shitty house explosion. Jai Courtney's house blows up and it looks like absolute dog shit.
Yeah, that was pretty rough.
I assume this film was finished over the coronavirus, so they probably kind of just said, fuck it, whip out whatever. But it's really glaring. Like, I don't think I would have really been bothered by it, knowing that it's kind of low budget, but the fact that this movie actually came to fucking IMAX, and that I sat in an IMAX theater and watched a house explosion that looked like it was something out of an asylum movie at best, was jarring, I suppose. And Jai Courtney's like, he destroyed my house completely, but since they couldn't actually destroy the house and like throw rubble anywhere, his door is kind of just scorched with really bad CGI.
Yeah.
And that's the explosion.
That was a little rough.
And I thought it was kind of ironic, too, that Jai Courtney gets arrested. We don't know if he actually goes to jail or gets away with it. I mean, the crime, even with the evidence they had, I feel like Jai Courtney kind of could have got away with it. They didn't really prove anything. Like, the only thing they had was a tape recorder with, like, gunshots of the guy dying, or, like, the other friend dying, which was, like, damning evidence. Was that the plan the whole time by Liam Neeson, by the way?
To get the tape recording? Yeah, I guess.
Right, so he's like, I'm just going to use this guy and sacrifice his life so that I can get a damning evidence.
I don't think he was supposed to die. I don't think Liam Neeson knew about the second gun.
Right.
Just a whoopsie on his part.
Yeah, but I guess it worked out for Liam Neeson, so who cares? We don't really get resolved like the family never, the two little twin boys that the good guy, the bad guy, the bad guy that turns to a good guy. He never really gets redeemed. He just kind of died. We never see Liam Neeson's sentence, but I imagine it has to be the rest of Liam Neeson's life. I mean, the guy's almost 70. He faked a bombing, did a real bombing, turned himself in for the $9 million bank, 12 bank robberies worth $9 million.
Stole 5 cars.
Fired on about 6 FBI agents. I mean, even if fucking Michael Weston doesn't press charges. Oh yeah, Grand Theft Auto. 3, in this movie alone, I think 3 counts of Grand Theft Auto. So...
Ice cream truck, the Corvette thing.
The Corvette, the old Chevy truck, or the old Ford pickup truck. And he crashed into Jai Courtney's truck. I mean, if Jai Courtney gets off, Liam Neeson's probably getting pinned for a double homicide because it's his word against Liam Neeson's, really. Jai Courtney versus Liam Neeson on that, because how's the tape recording damning evidence? All you hear is the two of them talking and then a bunch of gunshots going off. I mean, the gun that they recover from Jai Courtney is just about as worthwhile. It's not like when he had the car bomb, Liam Neeson's like, I'll turn off the bomb if you admit it, or something. Which, I mean, still seems like it wouldn't hold up in a court of law, being like, oh, I was actually forced a confession by a convict who's also... Yeah, it's nonsensical. It doesn't really have a concise conclusion, because if I'm watching this movie and thinking naturally, like... Yeah. I mean, I guess at least the guy got avenged, the FBI agent that died, not Mulder's replacement. So, Aiden, what did you think of Honest Thief?
It was okay. It was generic. I mean, pretty much a paint-by-the-numbers thriller. I was kind of expecting another Taken when I went in, because
Right. Well,
there's not only the 4 Takens, but Liam Neeson also starred in like 3 unofficial Takens. After, like Run All Night, which we reviewed a long time ago, and I'm sure a couple others.
There was one where it was like Taken on an airplane that came out like a couple years ago. I didn't watch it, but
But there's no real, like, action in this action thriller. There's a little. He rams his car into the other car, and they shoot at each other and miss a bunch. A lot of it is kind of just like Liam Neeson walking or driving around Boston in circles, and lots of romantic drama with his girlfriend person.
Liam Neeson's also kind of a Mary Sue in this movie.
Pretty much the only
He's
character.
Like,
Pretty much the only character who has an actual action scene is his girlfriend, who stabs the one FBI guy in the leg and then gets bashed into a table.
Well, the limited action that was here wasn't too bad, honestly. Like, the shootouts that happened were cool, even though nobody died except the one guy.
They were okay, I guess.
I mean, they're not John Wick, but they're serviceable.
I mean, it's just, like, overall super mediocre. Some of the dialogue is really fucking funny, especially, like, right at the start, where there's like, a bunch of awkward dialogue just front-ended into the start that's all completely ridiculous, where he's, like...
Where he's flirting with the girl.
Yeah, he's like, this is a lot rental place, and I think you're cool, and I have to be on the other side of the table to buy a rental unit. Haha.
So what is it? Are you a liar or a sociopath? Silence for a minute. I'm none of the above. That shit. It's so hard to even explain, bro.
Yeah, there's a lot of clunky dialogue. It's not unwatchable or anything. It's definitely made for fucking boomers.
Right.
To watch. Moderately action, very, very moderate action made for boomers with boomer humor. Liam Neeson uses a home phone at one point.
Oh, multiple times home phones are used. Also, is that Liam Neeson's thing, like talking on the phone since Taken?
Yes,
They're like, we gotta get this guy on the phone. Because Liam Neeson's on the phone at least 40 times in this movie.
Yeah.
And
it's definitely...
I also like how in one scene he finally, like, he talks with the FBI agents. Like, he's running around with his cell phone completely trackable. And then he calls the FBI agent and they're like, we weren't able to trace his call in time. The call wasn't long enough, which that's not how cell phones work, but... so he throws it out the window and they're like, it's untraceable. It's like, okay, so Liam Neeson threw his cell phone out, even though he also made a call that he knew would be untraceable. But then, in the next scene, he just has a new iPhone. So I liked the idea that Liam Neeson had to go, like, either scoop his phone off the side of the highway.
He threw it out, and then he's like, "Oh wait, I had no reason to do that," and he pulled over and
or
fucked around in the highway for 10 minutes.
Or alternatively, he, as a wanted man, went to the fucking T-Mobile store and got a new iPhone.
He swung by the Apple store.
Cricket
Stood in
Wireless.
line for 9 hours at the Apple store.
Yeah, it was pretty cringe. He's also a massive Mary Sue in this movie. He's perfect. He's the perfect thief, but he never spent a dime of his money. He just did it to feel alive.
He was a soldier, but he never killed a single person.
He never killed a single person. She said, "You make bombs," and he said, "No, I actually defused bombs." But he also knows conveniently how to make bombs.
I guess if you know how to take them apart, you probably know how to make them.
Liam Neeson never killed a person. I think like Liam Neeson has become like a mega liberal who doesn't want people to die. Like he's like against gun rights and stuff because I saw like a bunch of gun activists hate Liam Neeson now. So I think like he just hates the idea of killing now or something. So he refused to even have his character kill a single human being.
Yeah, probably.
And it had to be perfect. And there was something really awkward I was trying to remember. Yeah, whatever. It's probably not that important.
But yeah, it's mediocre. Connor, would you recommend Honest Thief?
I mean, the dialogue is kind of funny. Because it's so terrible. It's pretty hilarious. It's kind of got that Revenge of the Sith vibe where it's just... So for some reason, there's nothing funnier to me than unnatural, just the most unnatural dialogue, and just the points in the movie where you can just see the screenplay writer. It's like, I'm gonna make Liam Neeson say this because it's true. I hate my ex-wife or whatever.
Yeah, there's a lot of bitching about ex-wives in this movie.
There is. There's a lot.
Actually, I think every single person in this movie is divorced.
Except for Liam Neeson.
Because the girl's like, my ex-husband wasted all my money on gambling. And the
Michael
Weston carries a dog around, and he's like, my ex-wife took the house, but I got the dog, and I hate the dog, but I wanted to stick it to her. And he always carries the dog around with him.
And Jai Courtney's mad at the other corrupt cop because he doesn't want children or something. It's a lot of very weird boomer dialogue that comes off as really unnatural. It's like when you're like friends with your fucking relative you don't really know on Facebook, but then they just post fucking reposts of like dad jokes all day, and it's like I once went to the used car shop with my wife. Trying to see if I could trade her in for a new one or something like that. That's pretty much the dialogue in this movie.
Got it.
Yeah. But, no, I wouldn't really recommend it. I guess if you, like, have a Stubbs A-list account, you need something to watch. It's this or War with Grandpa, so I'd say... I'd recommend this over War with Grandpa. I did get some laughs. It's a pretty merciful hour and a half.
This is a very, very brief... Like 90 minutes on the dot.
Honestly,
they got in, they made it feature length, and they got out.
If you really want to see a movie, Empire Strikes Back was re-released by Disney. Tenet's still in theaters. Tenet's still good. There's a lot of options. This ain't it, Chief. So Aiden, would you recommend Honest Thief?
No.
This ain't it, Chief. Honestly, this thiefed my time away. Because it was boring.
Maybe the real honest thieves were the
friends we made
along the way.
Right. Damn, I never thought of it that way.